Tell us a little bit of the journey when we started to work together. What did you start to feel? What occurred for you?
The inner child work, I never took it to the extent that you took it to. So what we have to do is healing that shadow aspects from our inner child. Nothing happened by accident.
Hey, Peter, thanks so much for being on the Success interview today. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Thanks for investing your time with us and sharing your story with the world. I really, really appreciate that.
I appreciate you, Scott. You've done so much for me. And let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's just tell everybody first and foremost a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and then we'll go right into the transformation that you've had, which is mega. So it'll be a lot of fun for everyone to listen into for sure.
Yeah, I'm 70 years young. I'm a shamanic practitioner, master shamanic practitioner, I should say, because I've worked on over 10,000 sessions, and I've taught 10,000, but a bunch of workshops and all that kind of stuff. And initially, I was a nurse, and I played music for 15 years. And then I became a nurse because I was really intrigued with the anatomy and physiology of the body. And that led me to becoming a shaman. Like 20 years ago, I became a shaman. And like I said, I've worked on over 10,000 sessions and taught 10 over, bunch of workshops. And so I have a thriving practice in Lafayette, Louisiana. I also do remote stuff. So if you would like to invest in that, invest in yourself in that, I welcome that investment in yourself.
Yeah. What I've experienced with you here, Peter, as we'll talk about your transformation, is you are an amazing light worker to the world. And you've brought so many people's transformations, uncovering who they truly are and being able to do so. And a lot of people listening to this video may be in a similar boat. They've been coaches, caregivers, teachers, service-oriented providers, and they do an amazing practice to the world, but sometimes it's hard to do it on themselves. I like to say it's like the master dentist, and
Yeah,
he's trying to do his own stuff, and it's like, you know what, maybe I should just have another dentist come in and kind of do some work. So
you are the plumber whose pipes were always broken.
exactly, right. So let's talk a little bit about where you were before, because you've done so much work, and I know unworthiness and some lower self-esteem was a major thing that we did some amazing work on together. So tell us, prior to you even knowing or selecting to get into mentorship, where were you? What can you tell us a little bit?
Well, I had a brain tumor in 1998, and that really kind of shook me up. Uh, and of course, it was a slap in the face, the universe, and all that stuff. When the universe sees you're living a numb life, it wakes you up. And so that was a real wake-up call, to say the least. So I became a nurse prior to that brain tumor, and I did a whole bunch of stuff. My last 9 years was at Hospice of Acadiana, and but prior to, I've done so much stuff. I've been a seeker since I was like 12 years old,
Yeah.
and uh, and prior, I had a really rough childhood. I was a black sheep of the family, like many of us are. And I really did have a rough childhood. And uh, I mean, I was a black sheep. I had low self-esteem. Um, but I've done so much work before, up till now. I mean, tons of work, Joe Dispenza and a bunch of high quality mentors. But so before I got into this work, I was really depressed almost and low self esteem, low self worth, you know. And after all that work that I've been doing, for 50 years or something, it just didn't make sense to me that I was still in that low energy, depressed mode and like low self worth and low self esteem. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And this is such a boat that's so puzzling because we do so much and have invested in countless dollars, countless time,
Yeah.
countless energy, if you will. And it's like we get to a spot. So also tell me a little bit more about like um when you had like a moment that it's like I need something different and bigger because a lot of people get to a spot where they get so tired of investing or doing so many things that haven't worked, they almost kind of quit on it and just say, hey, maybe it's not for me, or they create a story about it. Do you remember that click point for you that it was like, I need a next level, and you saw what we do here, or something happened in that realm? Do you remember that moment?
Well, it's mostly in hindsight, you know, mostly in hindsight, really.
Yeah,
I have the realization that things weren't working out for me. And that realization really came across. And of course, when you need a mentor, they'll show up, right? That's what happened with you.
yeah,
And, you know, uh, and so the universe provided you as a mentor for me. And I think that that's a fact. You know, just like all my other mentors, nothing happened by accident. Nothing happened by accident. All that stuff that happened was supposed to happen. And that was building blocks for me to get to this point.
yes,
And I didn't even know who you were until us, and all of a sudden you popped into my life. And
yeah,
so that's how it works, you know? And but I'm really grateful for everything you've taught me.
yeah. Synchronistic almost is a great way of saying it. It's,
Yeah,
or what most people call coincidence or something, but
but
it's
there's no
great.
coincidence. I don't believe in
Right.
coincidence.
I don't either. Right. It's in a place where it was like it all aligned in its time to bring forth what was needed next. Right.
That's right. That's
So
right. Exactly.
really good. So let's talk about you. You and I remember getting on our call and we talked through, and it was a large investment and everything, but we went through it. We'll talk about that, in a little bit here. But when you started, I know there was a lot of optimism. Yet at times it's not always the easiest path. Like there's a lot of work that we start to do, and you do work with the master healer Sheila at the same time as working with me. It's pretty intense, but
Yeah.
obviously that's we get the outcome from it. So tell us a little bit of the journey when we started to work together. How did things unfold, or what did you start to feel connecting dots together? What occurred for you?
Well, the biggest thing was there's um, a couple of big things is that the inner child work I had never done. I mean, I had done some of that past inner child work shamanically, but I never took it to the extent that you took it to. Uh, and that is a whole nother healing situation because when I'm veering off the question, I'm digressing, but when you, as Sheila knows, we've talked about this, and you know it. This when I would think of things from the past, other things would come up, like that. I know you know about or you remember about this. When I was 4 years old, I had this incident with my father. I was pouring his shaving lotion on the floor, and he came in and he flipped out. And so before I would say, "Oh, it's okay, I love you," and all that stuff. Thought
Yeah,
I had forgiven him, but I really didn't. Until we started doing your work. And in fact, it took me um, uh, 4 or 5 times to do that scenario to where I got it clean, and it's still not clean. I mean, I still have um, um, shadows from that era, and it'll I guess I'll always have that, but I'm more neutral about it. Now I don't react to it as much, and so that's the bang for the buck. Did I answer your
yeah,
question?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
beautifully said because we started to go into, so for anybody not familiar, essentially what we did is we do a very deep modality where we go in and we take a look, where are these themes in life that are recurring, unworthiness, money in, money out, like these different themes are recurring, can be traced back to a place in childhood where the theme was created. Now, the theme was created from how we see in the scenario. So, like this beautiful example you said here, Peter, it's so hard that, you're playing as a kid, right? You have shaving cream,
Yeah.
you're playing, and your dad comes in and was so emotional, volatile in that moment that as a 4-year-old, what else are we going to think besides, I'm not loved, I must not be worthy as I play and have fun. And then
And
we're
actually, if I could interrupt you,
absolutely,
you asked how I felt, and I said I was shocked, and you said that shock relates to your numbness. So now, after doing that work, I can feel again.
yeah,
That's huge. That's
huge,
huge. That's
yeah,
more than any money.
huge. And the Zoom just did an automatic
Yeah,
balloons
I saw that.
celebration. So, so that was a big breakthrough because a lot of us will cope by becoming numb, overworking, getting into drugs, alcohol. I mean, there's a million different scenarios. As we start to progress, we start to do a lot of healing where you start to feel more alive and just different things start to unfold. So let's get more to like the middle to later half of the mentorship. Where did this ultimately take you internally? We'll just talk internal before any physical. Like, how'd you begin to, who'd you become? Like, what was different about you as we continued to work month after month?
Well, for sure, I have more confidence, and
Yes.
I have more of an understanding of how everything happened like it was supposed to happen. You
Yeah.
know, like I wouldn't have been here in this situation if that didn't happen because it was supposed to happen that way. Now, how do I feel internally? Um, um, I have more confidence and a better understanding of who I am, and that's huge. And that's the most important thing. And not to say I don't have more work to do, because there'll always be work to do, uh, but I'm freer, you
Yeah.
know, I'm more neutral. And I understood the difference between numbness and apathy and neutrality.
Yeah.
That's really big to me. And so it's not about ambivalence or apathy. It's about being neutral and understanding how to address life with that perspective of seeing the big picture, which is neutrality. And so that's really, really crucial for me anyway. And it's crucial for everybody, I think.
Yeah, neutrality, almost a sense of peace rather
Yeah,
than numbness, a sense
exactly.
of understanding and acceptance rather than hidden judgment or criticism.
That's
And
right.
you've reached that so well. And one of the great qualities I always mention to you here, Peter, but I like to say it for everyone here, is that one of the reasons why this worked out so well is because you're a great student of the universe. You are open to exploring and going through the dark spots, going through the scariness, because that's hard to do. It's one of the hardest things. People will go out there and physically risk their life by jumping on a plane with a parachute or rock climbing and these things. It's easier for most people doing that. But when they enter the emotional rock climbing, the emotional parachuting, it's a different story because it's so scary.
Yeah,
So,
if I could interrupt you real quick,
absolutely. Mhm.
let me just say, as we raise, we raise our vibrations, right? Um, but as we get clear of our past, our resonance raises, our resonant frequency raises, for lack of a better term. And that when we raise that, everything comes to us, not only money, but relationships that are better, and your insights are incredible. Um, but everything in life comes to us, easier. And it's like, I was in Brazil, obviously. I was in Brazil, and the I studied a lot in Brazil, but I'm Peru also. Anyway, the the there was a person who wanted to come over here and do an aura reading with me, teaching, because I learned that in Brazil, and She said, and I said, nobody's showing up. She said, well, the vibrations aren't right. And so I said, okay, I didn't quite understand. This was not, 19 years ago or whatever. And um, and I said, I didn't quite understand that. I thought it was vibrations with other people or the vibrations of the environment, but my vibrations weren't right.
Mhm.
Bang.
Yes.
My frequencies weren't allowing it.
Yeah. Frequencies, the consciousness, and then it seems like the world is doing something to us until we have the awareness of, I see that my feeling tone, my overall aura is bringing in these style things.
Yeah.
Huge
And,
breakthrough.
and so what we have to do, in my opinion, is healing those shadow aspects from our inner child, right?
Yeah.
And therefore you raise your frequencies, and those raised frequencies, because we're supposed to be free. I mean,
Yes.
really, but those things did happen for a reason, but we're supposed to be free. I mean, our spirit is pristine all the time. It's God. We have the universe within us, actually.
That's right. And that light spreading more and more is what we're doing the work here. So amazing said. Let's talk about a little bit of the physical results because those are just a reflection of some of the things that came in. I know income increase was about 25% plus. A
Yeah,
lot of different things in the physical plane started to unfold. And even the relationship between you and your wife, it's now getting to a place where you have awareness even more of like the dynamic of things. And right now we're also working through taking from fatigue in the body to becoming more energized. And that's still some of the work we're continuing now. Tell us a little bit more about the physical results. Things did happen in a way that seemed to be unexpected or increase. Tell us a little bit more of, what occurred as well.
you mean, well, one thing I have the realization of is um, the actual triggering. When I get triggered, I know it's my stuff,
Yeah.
not the triggers coming, the environment of the trigger. And so I have the realization now that that's my stuff. And that's something that I need to work on. And so that is huge to me. Their stuff is their stuff. They're being triggered because of them. And I'm being triggered because of my stuff. And working on that has incredibly changed all my relationships in the environment.
Yes.
Um, Everything really.
Yeah. So just to hit on that point a little bit, basically it's like when our partner, spouse, friend, family member does something and something happens inside of us, we get angry, frustrated, some emotional reaction happens. It seems like they're the cause, right? It seems like if you just
Right.
wouldn't do this thing, if you would just be a different way, I would be happy. But really, it's this person or thing is a huge teacher for me to see if I can heal this part. They can be whoever they want to be, and nothing happens inside of me, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
kind of what you're touching upon a little bit?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So, in terms of last part here in the business, then we'll talk about, the kind of the after effect. But in your business overall, clientele or different things, did you notice how you brought yourself as a teacher was upgraded from who you became, or that people attracted to you even better? Did you notice any of that as
Oh
you
yeah.
transformed? Mhm.
Oh yeah. Like my business has increased. Uh, and I don't even think about it because it's irrelevant to me, because
Yeah.
the neutrality thing, but it doesn't make any difference because I have that abundance inside of me, like you taught us, and that feeling of abundance, and that's what the soul and the spirit relates to. That's what the universe relates to. So
Yes.
now I am embodying that universe within me. So I don't even have to go anywhere. It's not like I don't know if Sheila told you this, but I'm embodying the universe within me. So I'm not asking outside of me. I'm asking inside of me. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And just for anyone listening in, I know we've mentioned Sheila. We just want to, she's our one-on-one master healer that does the work with me, just so everyone's on the same page of knowing who Sheila is when we talk. So Let's talk about kind of after the 12 months, and we're continuing our great work together. But during that period of time,
Mhm.
what made this very different? You've already mentioned you've done 50 plus years of work. You've been a seeker all of your life, but there
Yeah.
was something a little different with this that maybe just helped a different wavelength. Something was ready for this higher level. So what's different about what we do here or the work that's in the Energetics program compared to all the countless things you've done so far? What's a little different?
Well, I've always worked with intuitive people, but your one thing is the five-step process, which is a manifestation mechanism that you have us do,
Yeah.
um, like visualize the unseen and feel. The feeling is what I was missing, feeling um, that desire and then letting it go. And how like I told you, I think I was in Brazil and I had a Kogi shaman say, there's 5 words that were never in the human language: who, what, why, when, and how. And then I was in Peru and the mountain spirit said, we don't have to know how to do anything anymore. And I went, what? And I didn't even understand what the Kogi shaman told me in Brazil. And then I was in Peru and the mountain spirits say we don't have to know how to do anything anymore. And then you put it all together
Yeah.
that when we're asking any of those questions, we're cutting the cord to the universe because it's the universe's job to figure out the how, when, where, and all that, you know? So I didn't connect those dots
Yes.
until, and of course, you know, it was like um, talking about connecting the dots. I've read since 1978 all this stuff, from Buddhism to energy work to all that stuff, um, and then I was meditating and I got a thing that said a download that said, "I don't know anything." I said, I don't know anything. I've been studying this stuff for 30 years and I don't know anything. And then a few months later, I got another download that said, you don't have to know anything. And all of a sudden, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And then I was in Brazil, and this enlightened, awakened teacher said, if it's not coming through in the moment, it's not truth.
Mm.
And I connected those 3 dots, and that's it. If
Yeah.
it's not coming through in the moment, it's not truth.
Amazing, amazing all these click points coming together because how many of us have watched personal development videos or law of attraction videos and they say just let and allow and you're like, what does that mean? Or how do I do it? Right? We start forming those mind questions and it's not the right question to ask how. How do I let and allow? It's who do I need to embody? What kind of consciousness do I need to align with to allow the spirit to come through me and have the universe be moving through me? And there's a great quote, I'm sure you've heard of it before, but it's relax, everything is out of control.
Yes,
Because really, it's the more control we have, it's the more protection we're trying to create safety wise for us, right?
that's right.
So,
Control is based in fear anyway, you know,
yes.
and that's it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of bringing this thing to a landing. I know you and I could probably talk for like 3 days on
Yeah.
nonstop all this stuff because we love it so much, we embody it so much. So, let's just talk about the moment that you decided to do this. It's a large investment. For most people, they get very scared of money numbers. They take a look. I don't know if I can afford it. I don't know. There's so much chaos that goes on in the mind to protect themselves from possibly failure or what if it doesn't work out? What helped you make the decision, even with the sizable investment, the time you're going to take every week doing these deep sessions when people are busy, just like yourself? Um, what was your motivation? What said, I got to do this? There's no other way. What did that look like for you?
Well, one thing is that I knew I had to do it because my my higher self yearned for it, and so my your mind gets in the way, um, and I didn't let my mind get in the way.
Yeah.
Your ego will send up doubts and programming and why can't this, you'll never do that. What do you mean you don't have that kind of money? I don't let any of that stuff get in the way. And I have a counsel that makes all the decisions for me because I'm a horrible decision maker.
Mm.
And so when they say to do something, and they are my higher self, they are my spirit, I do it just like that. And I know
Yeah,
that any doubts from then on are based in my ego, which is programming and conditioning.
yeah,
And so that's where that's when I mean, I made the decision before I even talk to you that I
yeah,
was going to do it.
yeah. And just to refer, so the counsel for you is a spiritual counsel that you
Right.
would go to. And if anybody really hasn't done the work that you've done and they want to, like, I want to know, I want to feel the intuition in my heart, not the thoughts of limitation. If you were to give them a super simple suggestion, what would they do to help them make a decision on whether to get into program or not? Like, do you speak with them? Do you see them? Do you visualize them? What is your practice in, a few simple steps?
You mean for others?
Yeah, for others making a decision as well, and they're trying to feel that intuitive wisdom and guidance.
Yeah. I would say don't doubt yourself. I would say when you get a hit, go for it. If
Yeah,
if you get if it feels right, do it. I mean, if it's inspirational, do it. The money will come because I remember the first time last April, um, I was afraid that I didn't have enough money. I didn't at the time, but I paid it off in 2 months,
yeah.
and
It's
that's
been,
miraculous.
yeah,
April, May, June. Yeah, 3 months I paid it off.
yeah, huge.
Yeah.
So you made the decision, everything started to flow and move forward. So, last comment in conclusion, what would you say to anybody? Would you recommend them getting into it if they feel right about it? It sounds like, you know, what would they really feel into if they're ready for this? What would you recommend them to just go for it, try it out, make the decision? What's some concluding words, if you will?
Well, you have lower program, lower caliber lower ticket programs. And so my suggestion, recommendation is to not worry about the money because it'll come. Uh, just go with whatever you feel excited about because that excitement is inspirational. And that inspirational, that'll light your fire. That's what'll that's what feeds your spirit. And it's all about your spirit. We're just a vessel for this brief lifetime. That's
Yeah,
all we are. And so the spirit we're like a tool, like a hammer, but we're used by the spirit, which is lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. It's all of our gifts and talents and abilities.
yeah,
And that's lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Anyway, my point is that we have to nourish the spirit. And so any trepidations is ego. It's from our past in this lifetime. This
yeah.
lifetime.
That's right. Absolutely. Huge words, very wise words, Peter. Thank you so much for the time here. Everything you shared, I hope that people really listen in and take your wisdom here and run with it. You shared enlightened thoughts. You shared wisdom that, hey, even when you're a coach or when you're a teacher, we all go through our path. And
Exactly.
it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. Follow your spirit, follow your heart on where you need to take your next path. And that's probably going to be the one that's exciting and scary. We always say that's the benchmark. If
Yeah.
you're excited and scared, that's the thing to do, right?
Yeah.
I really appreciate you, Peter, so much. And I look forward to our continued great work that we unfold. Would you like to share anything about what you do in terms of people maybe jumping over to your YouTube channel, take a look at some of the work that you do? You can leave any thoughts you'd like to if you'd like.
Well, what I teach is, or what I share, we all teach each other. So what I share is that, and I'm learning while I'm teaching, what I share is that we all are spirit. What I do is with the council is I remove what we're not. I extract what we're not. And we're not our ancestors, although we are our ancestors, but we're not our hunches, not our negative aspects, hunches are shame, fear, guilt, doubt, but we're our beneficial aspects of our ancestors. So I I cut everything away that you're not. And so and I have YouTubes on that. How do you do that? Um, how do you access your higher self? Um, and a bunch of protocols. I've even written a book called um, Release Fear and Anxiety in One Day.
Mm.
So look into that. You can get it on Amazon, Release Fear and Anxiety in One Day. And you get it on Amazon. And that'll give you a brief. And also my website is drummershaman.com. Drummer, Drummer, shaman. You know how to spell that, SHAMAN, all one word, .com, drummershaman.com. So I look forward to getting in touch with you and for our collaboration together, because all I'm in it is to serve. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everybody listening in, take the jump, take a look at some of Peter's stuff, jump into the Energetics mentorship. It's your time, it's your path. We're here for you to allow that unfolding, and it's all worth it. It's all the reward at the end of going through those shadows and going through those parts. So, thanks again, Peter. Really appreciate you highly, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you and Sheila and everything that y'all have done for me immensely. There's no words. Words fall short.
100%. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and stop the recording there.